is from at Maria Wan on Twitter. So I find actual Twitter users and find tweets.
Have a beer, David?
Yeah. I'm working late. It's a good one too. Dogfish Head.
Oh yeah. I love that brewery.
Oh man.
I should have grabbed one for my.
But I was just listening to this guy, which I love. Have you heard of him? Podcasting.
I have not. No.
Oh, he's great. Anything about podcasting, the guy's amazing. Podcast answer man. But anyway, enough of me. So yeah.
So yeah, the tweet I chose today, I guess it's about honesty and transparency. It could work for business relationships. It could work for brands, marketing, but also in personal relationships. It reads, "Radical transparency breeds radical trust," and
Nice.
it kind of falls in line with trust is a two-way street. So if you're open with me, I feel more comfortable to be open with you. And it works on personal relationships, and it works for, I think, brand building. I think it works for building business relationships.
That is so funny that's your tweet to paper today, because I just did a seminar. I have a podcast business. Well, I'm a web designer, but I also have a podcast business that we're just launching, where we build podcast sites for people. So it's like kind of really easy, one-stop shop. We come in, record you, we do all the slick stuff, album art, the whole thing, launch it, iTunes, SoundCloud, all over, and promote it. Well, we had 25 people today come just to hear about it. It was really exciting. And one of the points we made is exactly what this tweet is. And it was about how it's not so much having a podcast show on iTunes, because that's not so romantic a thought, because you gotta wait a couple of years before you're getting thousands of followers. But the goal is taking that every episode and embedding it on your website, because text and photos are not as personal, although it's great seeing the owner of the company on the site and seeing a story about him. But when you're listening to audio from your phone, and then he's got his own podcast show embedded on his site, it's audio, and they're very transparent. So I look at it like, what are those shows, the reality shows where you're watching, you kind of like popping on someone. So we're trying to teach local businesses to allow themselves to be open and transparent, whether you're a plumber, electrician, whatever, and just talk about, hey, I went on a job today. And I mean, they can just do this on their phone. They can just record the audio, send it to us, and we produce it. Because I went on a job today, and this guy had, he didn't have a check on him, and we had to front him the money for the job, and whatever he talks about. But he's just being open. There's got to be an element of openness, transparency, right? And so the transparency does breed, what was your other word? It breeds trust.
Radical trust.
Radical trust. Yes, because of and basically this whole business is built on, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. So how do you know someone? You Google them. I'm looking for used lawnmowers. Okay, there's the website, used lawnmowers. How do you know? So that's how you know them. How do you like them? It's through just hearing them be open. And so that's a perfect tweet. I just wanted to say that because I thought it was awesome.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think we work with people? Why do you think we give people business who we trust? Why do you think that is?
Well, number one, because I think we're voyeurs by nature. We like to spy on people. Why does traffic slow down when there's an accident? There's something in us that we want to see something that happened that's, oh my gosh, are they okay? Are they dead? Voyeurism is big. I think people like to gossip. It's two bad things, but it's in human nature. We like to find out.
Yeah, we're curious about what's going on. Stuff that we don't normally get to see. I think that's
like reading a blog post that says, the 3 things that an illustrator will never tell you. Like, wow, what is that? Of course you're going to read it because it's very intriguing. So I think people like to listen to someone be transparent, because it connects with them too, because they say, wow, I've been feeling the same thing.
Definitely.
Here's a designer or a graphic designer or an attorney. They just started their business, and I'm listening to their little audio show, and they're being transparent, and that breeds radical, what's the word again? I'm trying to...
Radical trust.
Trying to keep the theme, yeah. it breeds radical trust because you like them. They're human. It's very anti-advertising, where, we've been in business since 1948, and we provide this. Well, okay, of course you're going to say that about yourself. But if you're transparent, that does breed radical trust.
Right.
I totally believe in that.
Leslie, what would you add to that? When you see this radical transparency breeds radical trust, what does it make you think about?
I tend not to read things as like 3 things podcasters tell you. I'm sort of tired of all of that, actually. That whole
Clickbait.
I'm really tired of that
Clickbait titles
stuff. So I'm not as curious as I used to be about stuff like that, because I feel like I see the same stuff over and over again.
Yep.
Actually swinging the other way.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You know what? If I hear one more person say that they have a funnel that's magnetic, that you can get 6-figure incomes in.
Yeah.
If I hear that one, and I'm in marketing and I help people with their online presence, and if I hear that one more time, you might hear me scream from Canada, because I think that there's a lot of people trying to build that, and I think it's just gone too far.
It's going too far. People are sick of it. Yeah. My point was that it is intriguing. Not that that's the best marketing. Just being real is, I wonder where marketing's going to go, headlines and copywriting, and it might go towards just not being slick and trying to trick you into reading the article.
That's kind of where we're landing now, right? I mean, copywriting is never going to go away. Creating amazing headlines, eye-catching email subject lines, that stuff's never going to go away. But I think the common thing, like this says, if you can figure out a way to convey transparency or convey who you are, what story you're telling in a quick headline, that's gonna work wonders, I think.
Well, that's a provocative heading too. I mean, if all I'm saying is it's human nature to want to go, what went wrong? What happened? I got to read this article. Whoa.
Yeah.
And if someone's being transparent, saying, I'm a web designer and I just lost a client, and then I'm very transparent about it. I start talking about it and saying how I may have blown it. That's like pretty radical. People don't say that. They don't admit that. Of course, there has to be a spin on it where you show that you've done what you could do. But if you open up and say, you know what, I did this wrong. I'm going to be very honest. This is what I did wrong. And that caused them to say, you know what, I'm pulling away from you as a client, still like you, but I got to move on. And it's like, oh, okay. And to have an episode like that, or to have content like that, or a tweet about that, is, to me, that's engaging. That's transparent. Oh, it absolutely breeds trust.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Then I trust the person.
Besides the voyeuristic view about it, it's at that point it becomes kind of empathetic, and you're playing to emotions. So, and I think it could work for headlines like that. It could work for talks. It could work for if you were talking to a team, if you're a leader of a team and you needed to kind of get them behind you, you say, okay, well, yeah, I've made these mistakes before, but I've learned from these mistakes, and here's what I want to share with you. It's a good way to get people on your side, because as humans, while we do like the voyeuristic, we do like seeing, oh no, there's a fiery car wreck over there. A lot of times we also like, okay, yeah, I've been there. How can we make this work? How can we help each other?
Right.
I think it's a good way to get people on board.
I think so. Yep, absolutely.
As I run out of space. I draw these outlines here, but they don't always work out. It's still on the page, so that's nice. I think I can bring this back around. All right.
Mm-hmm. So I just found out on Blab, you can just grab that link that they create for you and put it on Facebook, so you can bring in all the Facebook people. Blab's going to grow in huge ways.
Oh, I think so.
Just because of that.
And to this point, I guess, Blab is one of the ultimate, platforms to show transparency, show what you're really about.
Yep. Oh, I hope it stays like that. That's really cool. Really cool. So, what's the hat on your banner? M? Is that not the Mets? Is it?
Where? Oh, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee
I
Brewers?
Yeah, the Brewers. I just moved from Milwaukee to Seattle 5 weeks ago now. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Pretty nice up here. I like it.
I like it. Milwaukee.
Oh yeah.
Nice people.
Nice enough.
No.
It's Midwest, so they don't get too mean out there.
There you go.
And as I was talking, I almost crossed my D as if it were a T. So yeah, sometimes I just lose place of what I'm doing out here. Yeah.
It looks like I have to split. It was nice meeting you. I'll have a look after at the.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on, Leslie.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, David.
Yes, nice meeting you too, Leslie.
Bye bye.
Yeah, so I just posted this on Facebook. Join me for a live drawing, and it's got you, Tweet to Paper.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I hope people
Yeah, I'm
like it.
starting to learn about how to get it out there, get the word out there, and spread it. So it's really nice. It's good.
Yeah, there's so much clutter going on right now. I do this because I enjoy it. Well, in the beginning, and I guess this is part of that voyeuristic, oh, look what's going wrong. The whole reason I started this project, Tweet to Paper, was I was like kind of doubting myself in January. I was doubting my skills and my I knew I didn't have a personal style or anything like that, and I just wanted to know what more I could do. I found myself comparing myself to a lot of Instagram artists and be like, oh, what are they doing? What more can I do? And then I came up with basically it started as a daily exercise to work on lettering and figure out different styles, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. And yeah, people it's better. It's always better when people jump into the conversation with me.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I think I'm going to.
Nice. I think I have to leave in a few minutes because I got.
Okay.
Oops! I'm on Facebook trying to get out of this search before I got in there.
Sounded like a robot attack for a while.
Okay. So I got. Yeah. So I just promoted you. I just promoted us. I like your font. I like
Thanks.
the handwriting.
Not bad for a lefty, huh?
Very nice. Yeah. Hey, left-handers tend to be illustrators, cartoonists, I think.
More cartoonists,
are
but
left-handers.
not so hot with the handwriting, huh?
Well, it's kind of the same. It's similar. It's the same. I like that. Radical trust. Do you give props to the person who left that tweet in the drawing?
Oh, yeah. So at the very bottom of my tweets, I tag whoever did it. Yep.
Tweet bio.
And
okay,
then,
nice,
I
nice.
take them on whatever social media site I find them on. So what I do with these afterward is, I do the blab, and then I take a picture of it with the phone, which is right here, and that goes on Instagram, which then goes over to Twitter. And depending on the subject, I might write a blog post about it using the image as a header. So, lots of
nice. There's a woman on Blab I met 2 weeks ago, and she does. I think it's called See Your Words.
Okay.
Or word. Picture your words, something like that. So the person in the upper left corner, the admin of the Blab, is someone who's doing the teaching of the subject, whatever it is, whether it's better living or healthy living, diets, and then so that woman hires this woman. You know what?
I think I've seen her around.
Link.
I think they call that graphic recording.
Right.
So when people are talking, she's just writing and drawing little images, connecting the ideas. Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool.
See Your Words.
I haven't seen that live yet, but I hope to catch it one day. She's in Blab, and she's
Well, she just started. And she charges. I just put the link in there. She just charges. Why is it?
There it is.
She's going to be charging $500
Holy
per
cow.
lab. So, yeah, it's a lot, huh? So, I mean, if you were teaching a subject on whatever, and it was going to be for an hour, and you had and you really planned it and marketed it, and had a lot of people come out, you would hire her, pay her $500 to really add a little more value. That's awesome. Oh, so you erase the whole thing when you're done.
Not done yet.
Right.
So yeah, my hands,
that's great.
they're a little shaky. I don't know if you can tell. Some of the letters aren't as smooth.
Oh, so you tighten.
Yeah, I got to do that now,
the
and then I'll add something around here, kind of a border, but I don't know what yet.
I love that. That is awesome. So what she does is she'll do pretty much what you're doing, but what you're doing is better because you get the camera right on top of it and you can see it. She is like 5 feet away. So you see her in the picture, and she's like, you see her head right down to her waist, right about here. And then the board is about
so
that big, maybe let me get a business card. It's kind of like that, about that big in the screen. It should be like right there, but she can't. It's got to be in between the camera and the board. So it's great. So she takes a picture of it afterwards and sends it to all the people that signed up. And it's great. It's a great little whiteboard drawing. But it's really hard to see it while she's doing it. But it's a bigger board. Yours is, you've got this down. Awesome.
Thanks. I think I'm 24 days into Blab. It took me a few tries to get the technical problems out of the way. Hey, Audra.
You got the lighting. The lighting's great. Everything is pretty
awesome.
sharp.
I just have one desk lamp pointed up to my ceiling, so I guess.
There you go. The bumps.
Camera going
ambient
on.
light.
So Audra, I'm going to introduce this idea to Audra. So I do a project called Tweet to Paper. Tweet to Paper. There we go. Where I find a tweet that kind of catches my eye during the day, and I draw it up later that night on Blab. And I invite people to stop in, take a seat, and talk about the theme. So today's theme is radical. Well, the tweet actually was from @_Maria Juan on Twitter, and she wrote, "Radical transparency breeds radical trust." And as far as trust being a two-way street, this really speaks the truth, because if I'm talking to you, I know that if somebody, even if they're kind of oversharing a little bit, I know that they're willing to open up to me, so maybe I'm willing to open up to them. And when it comes to businesses, as David's podcast was talking about for podcasts, hey, Askia, if businesses are willing to open up and connect with people on a human level, the end user, the audience, they're willing to open up with their reviews, their honest reviews, their wallet books, their all this stuff. So it's really, trust is really a two-way street. And by initiating that transparency, we really do breed radical trust.
Yeah, and so what we were talking about earlier, Askia and Audra, was kind of the way you're marketing your business. I mean, if you're being open and honest with people, whether it's in your blog or podcast show or content,
Glassdoor reviews, website, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, wow, and you show a little of your flaws. I think that's like anti-new marketing. It's like you never show your flaws. You always show your strengths. But if you were to show your flaws a little bit and be open and show be transparent, it will breed radical trust, because people love that. They can relate to the human side of the business. Because I'm always working with business owners, so that's when I saw that you picked this tweet to paper, I thought, oh man, that is awesome. That's exactly what I was talking about today in that meeting.
I kind of want to touch on that Glassdoor review thing, because if you go to a company, and start reading their reviews, if everything is 100% squeaky clean, nobody's ever had a problem with them.
Yeah.
Oh, Askia is jumping in. It's a little fishy, right? It's a little fishy. Hey, Askia.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining in.
Oh, man, I love your typography work, man.
Oh, thanks.
You know what I love more is your hat.
Oh, okay. All right. Right on.
Socks. Come on, Askia. Yeah. Go Sox.
I was just listening to what you're saying, man. I agree with everything, man. I think authenticity and transparency is very important in business and relationships, because in order to have a successful business, you have to build sound relationships.
Right. Right.
So they go hand in hand. You can't be a successful company if you're not really focused on building a solid relationship with your clients. That's where it all begins.
So I think these days, our BS meters are very, very effective.
Mm-hmm.
We can smell BS a mile away. If we see a company coming at us, if we see any, even people that we meet during the day, like, oh, hello, how's it going? You're like, no, stop right there. I'll listen to you, but I can read you from a mile away, and it puts us off. It turns us off. It's not going to breed this trust. It's going to breed distrust.
Yeah.
If anything.
Wow, Media Tonight is bringing up some really good points. It's funny when a corporation says it's great to work for them, but their Glassdoor review is 2.3. And stop the stock photos. Yeah, I know. There's too many of those stock photos. The other thing is those stock, they're icons. They're like they look like little plastic people with round hands and round heads, and they're in a white studio. And it might be one blue guy with all these white guys.
Yep.
And it's just, it's clip art. I mean, it's 3D clip art. That's what I should say. Yeah. 3D robot clip art.
So this kind of happened. So I'm a graphic designer during the day, and then I do this stuff in the evenings. Oh, you too, Askia?
Yeah.
I'll follow you, see what you do up on here. Nice. Awesome. There we go.
Me too.
So, it might have been a few years ago, maybe 2011 or so, we just saw this huge influx of just nonsense logos, nonsense clip art that was just like, oh, the circles, like the Intuit logo, where you have the circle and then the arms, and then everyone's happy. And that meant that that could be a logo for connecting people. That could be a logo for happy employer or whatever like that. But I think what happened was the companies just got lazy, and designers, they would go, you could get cheap stuff on 99 Design or cheap stuff on Fiverr, and it just flooded the market with all this nonsense design. And talk about BS meters going off. If I see one of those in a presentation, I'm like, nah, that's it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you're sensitive to that because you're a graphic designer. You're a graphic communicator. So you see that and go, cheap shot. They just took the easy way out. Grab some clip art.
Yeah.
I guess if I can be transparent for a moment, I want to answer a question for, or not really answer a question, but add some value, I guess, to what Media Tonight said. Before I started my own boutique agency, I used to work for a really, really large agency. And when I left there, I'm not going to name the agency, but it's really one of the largest agencies in the U.S. And they had a really bad way of how they treated their employees, but I have to honestly say that I had very little I didn't have the problem that a lot of people had, but I saw it. Mm-hmm. I guess I was blessed and fortunate that I worked there, and I had someone ingratiated myself with some of the owners, and because of my work, and I moved up pretty rapidly, so I was protected somewhat. Well, to make a long story short, when I left to start my own business, the CEO of the company reached out to me, and he was really he realized that the Glassdoor rating that he had for his agency was really, really low. And he asked me, he said, hey, if you don't mind, could you,
that is
go
tough.
But I will say this, though. again, I didn't have any problem, but I did recognize the problem. So what I did was I chose to only speak from my own personal experience and not to really get into what I really saw. Now, that wasn't being true all the way. You know, I could have really been, you know, truthful and recognized that I could have went a little deeper. But because he's always shown me a lot of respect, I felt as though the right thing to do was at least speak to my relationship and my experience, my personal experience. So I think a lot of times, and I just want to share that with media tonight, sometimes that, you know, with the glass door, you can have a 2.3 and there may be some people that, and maybe they should be a 3.5, but you might have some people that's a 3.5 and should be a 1.2. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tough to really evaluate that.
It is tough. And I think with any online review site, probably 75% of the people, and I'm just making this up, this stat up, are there to grind an axe. They went there because they felt a need, a compulsion to get up there and tell everybody how horrible they were scorned. So a lot of them you got to take with a grain of salt. And I think just like trust breeds trust, respect breeds respect. So the CEO, when he asked you that, he must have earned your respect, and you showed him the respect of saying, okay,
that's right.
If you're being straight with me and asking me outright what's wrong with this place, I'll tell you what I experienced. Well, I'll tell you what I experienced. Yeah, that was good.
And that's all I did. I only drew from my own personal experience, but you know, but there were some things that I did recognize that was there. But I just want to share that with media tonight because she brought up a really, really good point. You know, there are, you know, sometimes it's hard to really evaluate even those reviews. We can't really tell if a 2.3 should be a 3.5 or should even be worse than 2.3.
Yes.
That's a good point she brought up, though.
We got a couple more people in here. Thanks for joining. I'm drawing up somebody's tweet today. This is at _Maria Juan on Twitter. She wrote, "Radical transparency breeds radical trust." And we're kind of talking about that, how these type of things are a two-way street: trust, respect. And we see companies blowing it daily. Just in the news this week, Volkswagen, right? 11 million cars recalled because they lied about their actual compliance with EPA regulations. They pretty much added some software that lied to measuring equipment. And whether you're a corporation, so let's talk about this. Whether you're a corporation or whether you're an individual, how do you build trust that you've already damaged?
Wow.
Can you ever get it back?
Yeah, you can earn it. I think you can earn it back. I think not necessarily get it back, but you can earn it back. You know, I think, you know, that's the beautiful thing about if we understand that we are imperfect. You know, a person can earn it back depending on what that thing was. It may take longer than something else, but I think you can always. I think you have an opportunity. What I've always taught my kids is that it's not about being perfect; it's about being accountable. You know, sometimes, you know, we all make mistakes. We do some things that we regret. We say some things we wish we could take back. But I think if you own up to it and do everything and through transparency, that's key. Bringing back transparency again. Through transparency, try to make things right. Then it's up to that person to accept it. But all you can do is the best you can to be as true to yourself and say, hey, I know I wronged you. You know, I apologize sincerely, you know, and hope that person can forgive.
That is one of the most difficult things that I found people have the most difficulty doing that.
Yeah.
It's obvious to everyone else that, you messed up, but so many people have a hard time saying, yeah, I did. And I know I messed up, and here's what I'm going to try to do to make it up to you. But most people are like, no, I didn't mess up. I don't want to do any of that. So I'm looking for a color for trust, because I found the kind of background. Just sorry, take a pause from the convo. I found the kind of background I want to do. I've done it before. Where are you? Okay.
I like what Media Tonight just said. People appreciate a real apology.
Yeah.
And it's got to be ASAP to start. So you can't wait, because then it'll look like, oh, the public is pressuring you, so now you've got to say something, which is not very transparent. So you've got to react right away.
Right. Yep. And yeah, not even the public, just even if it's not a public facing thing, it's just the individuals that you wronged. Maybe you, let's say a high school team or whatever. One person messes up, the coach usually makes everyone else do it until that person fesses up and then they get to do it. But if you mess up, you're dragging everybody down with you, and you owe all these people an apology. You owe them responsibility. And yeah, the sooner you do it, the less damage is caused. But man, it's like a Band-Aid. You got to do it, but it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I am going. I think I'm going.
So here's the deal. You should go with Brown.
So Brown, is that true? Is that the color psychology behind Brown?
It is. Yeah, I studied color psychology as a graphic designer. Yeah, Brown is a lot of brands that want to build trust coming out of the gate will hire color psychologists to really come up with color schemes for their logo. And UPS is all about getting your package delivered, and you want it's like very personal stuff and very sensitive stuff and dangerous. You don't want to break it. So UPS is Brown. A lot of courtrooms. If you go into courtrooms, I was in there a couple of years ago for speeding ticket. And the judge was up there, and she was on this brown bench. Now you figure, okay, brown because it's wood, but everywhere was brown. And I think when someone's like, they don't want to trust the judge's judgment. And so when I looked around, I thought, oh, I bet they hired, and this was a really nice courtroom, so a lot of money spent. Brown was everywhere, and it was like this warming sense of whatever is said in this room, I can trust it. And so, yeah, brown is definitely a trusting
I'm going to
color.
meet you halfway. I'm going to go brown and yellow because I think yellow that helps for the gold standard, something very positive and valuable. But brown, I'm going to throw that in there as well.
Hey,
yellow is the color of the mind and intellect. It's the optimistic and cheerful. However, it can also suggest impatience, criticism, and cowardice. That's yellow. But
we're calling it gold. Yeah, for sure.
I just want to thank y'all for allowing me to sit in. I want to give somebody else another chance to come in, but I really enjoyed it, man. And great work, man. Really, really good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you stopped by.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, same here. I was just going to go too. So awesome.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Hey, I'll let. All right, thanks, Aaron. I just started following.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Good luck. I'll need it. I got it. Purple and brown. Not really digging that one. That was Audrey, right? Audra. Purple and brown. I think I got to stick with I'm calling this gold. I'm not calling it yellow. Not cowardice. Gold for a gold standard. And I'm going to give it the old, 3 up, 3 down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, I don't want to say 1, 2, 3 every single time I do this. You guys are going to go crazy and just leave. Don't want that to happen. So I think just to talk about transparency a little bit more. So yeah, I mentioned before that I just moved to Seattle. And there's this thing called the Seattle Social Freeze. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's where people tell you that they're going to hang out, but then they don't. You just never hear from them again. I haven't experienced this yet. Cross my fingers. But I think whenever you meet new people, there's that level of there's a certain level of trust when you're very open with them. And people can appreciate that. They can appreciate that you're being open with them. They feel more comfortable to be open with you. It's a really good way to get a relationship started off on the right foot. 2, 3. Man, this is tough to do. It's tough to do without a grid. So here's the pattern that I'm kind of kicking off right here. I'll fill in the other ones with horizontal brown, I think. 3 of these, 1 there, there. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. In fact, you know, they say honesty is a virtue. It's a virtue because you can't always achieve it. We're all going to tell our little white lies. We're all going to be not so transparent sometimes. But because it is a virtue, we can strive for it. And the more that we can hit it, the better everything is going to be. And by better, I mean, 1, we're not always chasing our tails trying to figure out what lie we told that day. But 2, people around you are going to appreciate it. They're going to appreciate that the info that you fed them is accurate. And then it's something that they can work with. Let's see. If you think about some businesses that are super transparent, what businesses are out there? Buffer. I love Buffer for their transparency. If you guys don't use Buffer, I use it constantly. I use it to manage my social media presence. And of course, that means these tweet to papers. Oh, and as we are on the coloring portion of this, would you mind telling a little birdie, see if any of your friends would want to come check out the home stretch of our tweet to paper? It would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so transparency, I think that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game of any game that you're playing. If you want to get people on your side, if you want to get people involved, you got to be transparent. We're very wary of secrets for good reason. What we know, people say what you don't know won't hurt you, but it's usually what comes biting you in the butt most often. Hope it doesn't sound like I'm rambling. I'm really trying to form cohesive thoughts while doing this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. The yellow is all in there. Oh, thanks, Sandra, for the tweet. Oh, this is spot right here. So 3. Okay. Kind of surprised I was able to keep this pattern fairly straight. You can see the lines kind of going through. All right, in comes the brown. Do we do dark brown? How does it look over here? Dark brown. I'm just doing some color testing over here. Yeah, you know what? I think the darker brown works. And this will be all horizontal. Yeah. Much easier to be on somebody's team when communication is open and consistent and respectful, transparent. If you think about the teams that you work on at work, at your 9 to 5, think about what made those teams successful. Was it secrets? Was it power struggles? I doubt it. It was probably transparency and trust. And belief in each other's abilities. And because you have that trust, you know that what they are responsible for, it's going to get done. Yeah, it's kind of looking like wheat, which is not bad. Hope you guys aren't gluten-free. Yep, coming down to the home stretch. So you guys, if you want, freelance creative company with zero transparency and culture of deceit. It was awful and just sucks. Any creativity out of the place. Not a good atmosphere for anyone to be in. That sounds horrible. I can't imagine. I can imagine, but yeah, I wouldn't wish that on any creative. The reason it's just so ironic. It's just so ironic that you would bring in these creatives for their skill and creativity and then not trust them with details or motives or goals or to do their job. Excuse me. Where's the incentive? It doesn't make any sense. And I realize I need to give this breed some more weight. So I hope this does the trick. Too messy, too messy. Clean that up with the Jelly Roll pen. Oh. Can you guys hear the cruise ships in the background? Usually the dogs go crazy. Okay. I think I'm happy with where it's at. Last things last. Forgot a place to put my tweet to paper. And if you guys, cruise ships. I live in Seattle, and I live close to the water, but I don't got a water view. I got a nice view of the city. But yeah, the cruise ships go in and out all the time. They go up to Alaska, Canada, and all that stuff. Pretty cool. The dogs usually go crazy when they hear the cruise ships. If you guys want one of your tweets featured on my tweet to paper drawing, go ahead and use the hashtag tweet to paper on Twitter, and it'll get on my radar. And if it catches my eye or strikes me in a certain way, then I might draw it up later that night on Blab. And they don't always have to be, about trust and transparency. Seattle with that far. I just moved here 5 weeks ago. So yeah, there's no changing me. There's no changing me. But yeah, sometimes I do funny ones. Like, where's that one? Where's that one I just had about pants? I think you're going to like this one. You don't need pants on the internet. That was one I did a few days ago, maybe last week. I did another one. If you're not being laughed at a lot, your dreams are too small. That was by Amy Schmidt-Auer, Savvy Sexy Social on Twitter. And then, of course, Play More Games. That was by Will Wheaton. He didn't retweet it, but that's okay. So yeah, if you want to get it on my radar, I might draw it up, use the hashtag tweet to paper. And as I credit the tweeter, Maria Juan on Twitter, and sign my name, I encourage you to follow me. I do these every weekday. It's a new topic, new tweet every day. And I'd love to get you in here and talking about them. We had a few people come in and share some pretty nice ideas, some frustrations when they don't encounter such great honesty. But overall, pretty good conversation. I'm going to hold this up. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to hold this up and show you the finished product before it goes on Instagram. So there we go. Radical Transparency Breeds Radical Trust by Maria Juan on Twitter. I want to thank you all for stopping by today. I'm going to wrap this baby up, and I hope that I can see you tomorrow. Bye.